and to Facebook. And so hopefully this is all, let's see, make sure that we're getting, we are now live, it looks like, on Facebook, though I don't see the graphics. Hopefully, let's see here, is it loading? Here we go. Okay. This is the first I am streaming live to you, to my group on Facebook, the Bill DeWeese Voiceover Training Group, as well as to those on my YouTube channel. And so welcome to this inaugural live multicast. Kind of exciting. I don't need these headphones. If you have a comment or question you want to ask while I'm doing this, feel free to throw that up there. I am, again, being the first time I've done this on both platforms simultaneously. I'm not sure how well this will or will not work, but I'll give it my best shot. So I am not here for no reason at all. Actually, I have a very good reason to be here. I've launched a big sale, as I do annually every spring, and I wanted to point you in the right direction for that. But before I do that, and by the way, some huge savings on that, so I'm very excited to share that with you. It's my spring fever sale. But before I do that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what to do when things get tough in voiceover. Why do I want to talk about that? Well, probably for the obvious reasons. These past few years, I was just talking to my wife, Vicki. We went out to breakfast today, and we were talking about how in 2019, how we would have never imagined what was about to hit in 2020 with COVID-19, and then followed by what we're dealing with now. It's mind-boggling. The world stage is it's a scary place, and when bad things happen that way, it hurts the markets. COVID, it just sent everything. It redefined the way we operate, the way we live, the way we work, and as a result, for many of us in voiceover, we took a hit on our business. Now, that being said, I have students that were working with a number of companies that did a lot of COVID-related type content, e-learning specifically. And I had a little bit of that myself, but for me, it was a net loss as opposed to, when I say net loss, I don't mean that I lost money. What I mean is compared to what I usually do. Fortunately, financially, we're fine. It hasn't hurt our standard of living, but it was a noticeable hit in our business. And had I not been very diligent as I have been in these past years, saving and investing, it could have gotten pretty, sketchy at times. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit and share with you some thoughts, and hopefully you'll find it helpful for yourself, because the reality is nothing works like this. It's just a straight gradual upward movement. It's always like this. It's up, it's down. There's an ebb and flow of life, of the world, of economics, and what we hope for, what we work toward in a financial sense, business sense, in a market sense, is that we hope that even though it's up and down, that we're trending up. That's been the history of the U.S. stock market since its inception. If you look back, people panic and people get excited depending on what's going on. But the reality is, if you look at it objectively and from a 30,000-foot view, it averages this, but it's always up and down. So the good news is, historically speaking, things always get better. And we can only hope that it continues, to move in that direction. But just a few thoughts to share with you. And number one is this: don't panic. Easier said than done, perhaps. But the reality is, when you're in the middle of something, it seems it can feel like the worst thing ever. And not to make light of what's going on in the world. It's bad. It's really bad. But the reality is, bad stuff, the history of the world is a history of really bad things happening and really good things happening. And right now we are in, we've just been hit with two things back to back. And for many of you, it's hurt your business, but that's business. It doesn't matter what business you're in. That's just, that is the way it is. And for some people, it's worse than others. But here's my next thought for you. That is, go back to basics. Go back to what brought you to where you're at. If you've been doing this for a while and you've had some success, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm getting back to what got me here. I'm marketing aggressively. And that's, that really brings me to my next point, which is double down. Most people, I would venture to say, during a time like this, is they back off. And just to give a little more context here, usually the first thing to happen within a corporate setting when money gets tight and budgets get cut, the first two line items to get cut are what? Training and advertising. And those two tie in directly to voiceover. So when things get tough financially, generally speaking, the economy with businesses, those are the first two things to get cut, which that affects our livelihood. Most people during a time like that, they tend to shrink back and start being very conservative when it comes to marketing. That's the time to lean into it. That's the time to hit hard because number one, you need to. You need to build your business. Number two, most people are backing off, which means a gap opens. It's an opportunity for you to jump in and to say, hey, I'm here. This is what I do. So while others are absent from the scene, it's a chance for you to be visible, to be seen, and to be heard. And so whether that's auditioning, for me, I do a lot of direct marketing. You just need to double down and you keep moving forward because, again, if history repeats itself, which it has done for a very, very long time, we will move past this. What that will look like exactly, I don't know at this point. I don't know. But we will most likely move into a better time. And again, when things are feeling great and like they could never be bad again, they'll get bad again at some point in the future. That's the cycle. It's the cycle of life. I don't mean to sound, cliche, but it really is. So we just have to be aware of that and play along with the game. Not that it's a game, but if understanding that that's what life's going to give us, fine, we accept that. And then we learn to work within that framework. And again, I think doubling down on your marketing and your efforts, that's the best thing that you can do right now. And again, just to share my story, and maybe this will make you feel a little bit better. When I started my voiceover business, it was 2006. What happened in 2008? Think about that for a second. The bottom dropped out of our economy. I mean, in a big way. What's interesting is my growth continued like this in those early years of my voiceover business. And what's interesting is, although I was aware of what was going on, I didn't give it any thought as it related to my business. In other words, I wasn't going to allow that to be an excuse because I could have. It'd been easy to say, well, gee, the economy's in the crapper right now. This is a terrible time to start a business, a terrible time to grow a business. But I didn't. I pushed forward. I aggressively marketed myself. And I was still a newbie. I was very early on at this, but my income continued to grow quickly during those first few years because I doubled down on my efforts. So again, while others are pulling back and shrinking back, move forward, lean into it, put your foot on the accelerator and push forward because the economy it breathes. It's always up and down, in, out. It's just the way life works. It's the way the economy works. So you have to take advantage by when things are down and people are backing off, you lean into it and that will help you move forward. And whether you have an established voiceover business or whether you're just getting started, don't let that be the excuse that keeps you from doing it. Okay. So that's the first thing I wanted to share with you. And let me see again, this is the first time I've simulcast to both YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. And let me see if there are any comments. Hey, Thomas, how you doing? All right. Good to have you here. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Lots of, I'm so sorry I haven't seen these yet. Lots of comments coming in through Facebook or through YouTube. Let's see. Thank you for the kind comments. Awesome. Am I supposed to slate each demo before I present it? I never slate demos. Never. But that's just me. And it's worked okay for me. How are you doing? I'm fine, thank you. Thank you. They appreciate my advice. You're very welcome. Yeah, how about that? This is literally the first time I've live streamed to YouTube. So I was terrified because not that I'm afraid to stream. I was afraid that I would somehow screw this up and it wouldn't work and I'd be sitting here pushing buttons but thank God for YouTube. I just found the YouTube video on how to do this and I just went on in minutes. I had it up and running. Okay. Oh, here's a good question. I like this. The question is this: allowing your voice to be digitized like you see on YouTube videos, is it a good idea to get your voice heard or a foolish business move? I've given this a lot of thought. I think if you have the opportunity to be compensated fairly, whatever that might mean, for having your voice digitized, I think it's a good move. Frank, I would do it if I ever have that opportunity. And let me tell you why. Because if you look at the market, it's like it's like buying cars. There's different levels of budget and what people want. It's the same thing in voiceover. And I think it's one of the mistakes that a lot of people, especially what I'll call institutionalized voice talent, who have done this for years, they see everything as level. Everything operates on one level. It doesn't. It operates on multiple levels, just like car buyers. Some people, they want to buy a Fiat and spend maybe less than $20,000. Some people want to buy a Mercedes or a large SUV and pay over $100,000, or a Bentley for $250,000, or whatever the case. And just because you introduce a Ford Fiesta, you're not going to coax somebody who wants a Bentley to buy your Fiesta. That just doesn't happen. They have budgets for and different needs depending on who their client is and who they're trying to reach and what their budget is. My point being this: there will always be people, like I know there will always be people that will not be willing to pay what I charge for voiceover. Not that I charge an exorbitant amount. I don't. I consider myself a value voiceover talent, which means I'm not cheap, but you're going to get more than you pay for. So it's value. But there are people who can't afford or don't see the value in that, and they'll never pay me for that. Great. Wouldn't it be great to have people be able to buy my voice in a digitized format that they wouldn't hire me otherwise? Why can't I capitalize on that market? I'm not taking anything away from myself or away from anybody else, So I think it'd be a smart business move, personally. And you may disagree, and that's fine, and we don't need to have that debate. There's plenty of people who would disagree, but that's from a business perspective, that's how I see it. Let's see here. Let me just pick up another question or two, and then I'll move on to the other thing I wanted to talk about. A new listener thank you for checking out the channel. Glad you're here. Hope you'll continue to check out the content. Let me just throw this out here. Here's something I'm thinking about. Tell me what you think about this. I'm thinking about doing a daily stream for just a few minutes in the morning before I start my workday to talk about what's on my mind for that day. Maybe occasionally share a little bit of the work that I'm doing. Actually, I have a group. They pay to be in this group. It's a closed private group. It's not thousands. It's a couple hundred people. And they are able to watch me as I work during the day. And so they get to see all of that, and I get to talk and share with them. And we have a private Facebook group, and we communicate that way. And if that's something you're interested in, you can always drop me an email at voiceoverexpert@gmail.com. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about coming on maybe for 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the morning, answer your questions. We can hang out. We can talk a little bit. Maybe sometimes it's motivational. A little something to get you going to start your day, maybe something to get me motivated to start my day, and just talk about what's going on. I'm kind of personally, I'm excited about the idea, but I don't want to sit here and talk to myself. And if that's the case, I won't do it. But if that's something that you think would be beneficial and be of some value to you, just, post and let me know that. And if that's the case, I'll probably start doing it. Maybe every day, Monday through Friday, if not at least maybe 3 to 4 times a week. I think it would be a hoot. Maybe even occasionally I could bring in some of my students who are in my intensive voiceover blueprint program to talk about what they're learning and what they're doing, so you can learn from them as well. It looks like I'm getting a lot of great feedback, and I'm sorry it's moving quickly. I can't respond to everybody, but thank you. The other thing I wanted to talk about, as I mentioned at the front of this conversation, is that my Spring Fever sale is on right now. I get very excited about it because what I do, as a matter of fact, let me see. You know what? I'm not going to try to mess with this. I'm afraid I'll mess up the stream. I was going to show you a graphic, but here's the website. It is springfeversale.com. Let me double check. Yes, springfeversale.com. That's the website. When you go there, there's actually a video in there. I explain everything. I'm not going to go into great detail, but what I've done, I've put together 3 packages. And so it depends on where you're at. Maybe you're early on and you're just kind of kicking the tires and you want to check it out, but you don't want to commit like a huge chunk of money. Not that any of this is all that terribly expensive. I've tried to make it extremely affordable, as a matter of fact. But I have like my standard Spring Fever package. You get the voiceover playbook, which is my marketing program, my DIY demo secrets, There's a Fiverr course in there created by my Cath Code, a couple of weeks in my DOIS members community that I was talking about. It's valued at $800. I'm selling it for $147. The sale is only through this next week, by the way. And then I have a Spring Fever Plus package where you get all that. Plus you can attend we do about 4 hours worth of live group coaching every week for people in this program. And we would plug you into that. I have a multi-six-figure workshop that I recorded when I was in Los Angeles. You can take advantage of that. And then, a couple of months in my DOIS members interactive community. And all that, if you were paying for it outright, retail, I guess $1,300, it's only $397. And then I've got a 90-day all-access pass into my VoiceOver Blueprint, which is access to everything I've ever recorded. Now, that's everything that I own. I do classes with other people sometimes that I don't own that, so I don't have the right to share that. But all my stuff, and there's a lot of it. My private Facebook group that I talked to you about, where I stream live every day. You can be a part of that. We do almost every day now. We do a live coaching session. Sometimes it's on audio tech with my son Alex. Mallory teaches. She has a Fiverr webinar. We've got there's performance with my Cath Code. I do a couple of Q&A webinars. As a matter of fact, I have one later on this afternoon for my group. There's a lot there. So go to Spring Fever sale and check it out. But whether you're fully committed and you want full access to a comprehensive, all-inclusive training program for the next 3 months, or whether you just want to get a core package of training that's going to give you the highlights of what you need to know to move forward in your voiceover career. It's something that I've put together, carefully curated, that will, I believe, really help you to move forward in your voiceover career. And so, I'm just looking at wow, thanks for these comments. You guys made my day. I did not, in all honesty, I just didn't see that coming. I thought I might get a few comments, but I did not expect this. And they're all so kind. Oh, Glenn from Asia. Awesome. I wish I could respond to each and every one of you personally. There's just so much here that I would love to do that. Let's see what's happening in the Facebook group. Oh, yeah. Also, Randy, congrats. Gives me congrats for being the best pawpaw. Yes, I got this for my grandkids, and they're coming to visit me this weekend, by the way. So I'm extremely excited about that. Oh, in terms of time of doing this pre-day show for 15 minutes or whatever, my thought is to do that maybe like around 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. I'm Eastern time. So if you're West Coast, that's like 5 o'clock. It might be a bit early. But I'm usually between 8 and 8:30, is when I get my coffee and I'm getting in the studio. I'm looking through the projects I have lined up for the day and getting ready to do my thing. And I think that'd be a good time for us to have a chat. And hey, Dave, how are you doing? I love these comments, you guys. You guys are awesome. You're awesome. Thank you. And then once we do these, I think they're automatically archived in YouTube and Facebook. So if there's anything that you find particularly helpful, you can go back and make reference to it. So hey, I'll end the stream. You guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and look for me on Monday morning, because I'm gonna be here on Monday morning. I'll make that commitment now. I think. Let me double check my calendar, make sure I'm going to be around. No, I take that back. I have a breakfast scheduled on Monday morning. But Tuesday morning, I'm going to write that down. And then now that I've made this decision, I can make sure that I'm not out eating breakfast with people, or at least not doing it all that often. And I'll put live stream. It's now on my Google Calendar, so nothing's going to stop me now. I got it going. All right. Hey, guys, thanks again. I so appreciate it. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.